everyone and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I will be recommending some fall TV shows. I recently did a video where I recommended some fall romance books, so I'll link that video down below. And I did mention how I would do this video as well. This was also another video that I did 2 years ago, and I thought it would be fun to do an updated version, share some new recommendations that I have. I was thinking about doing a movie recommendation video for fall movies. However, I feel like a lot of the fall movies that I watch are already very popular and the well-known ones, and I don't have any unique recommendations for movies, and I am much more of a TV show connoisseur than a movie watcher, so I love to recommend TV shows instead of movies. And I feel like I do watch a lot of fall TV shows or paranormal TV shows that I feel like work for the fall time and spooky season. So I have quite a few recommendations. I will also link my video that I did like this 2 years ago if you want some other recommendations. I will still kind of mention the ones that I recommended back then, but I do have new ones as well. So the first recommendation that I have is What We Do in the Shadows. This is a comedy paranormal show. This is on FX. This basically follows the nightly lives of 4 vampires who have been living in Staten Island for over a century. It's very funny, it's very camp, it is kind of weird. Sometimes the storylines don't really make sense, or they don't like fully have proper storylines. I feel like there's so many plot holes, but if you can get past that and just enjoy it for a very fun, unique show, I highly recommend it. I watched it for the first time last year, around this time actually, and I fell so in love with it. It is my new comfort show. I watch it every single day. I am constantly rewatching it. There are currently 5 seasons out, so it's the perfect length of episodes and seasons to just completely binge. It's such a fun show, and I feel like it's so highly underrated. Then we have Beauty and the Beast. This is a drama romance show. I think there's a little bit of mystery in here. It was on the CW for 4 seasons. It ended back in 2016. So this is a little bit of an older show. For some of these, I am going to read the IMDb summary because I feel like I am not very good at explaining TV shows. So on IMDb, it says, a beautiful detective falls in love with an ex-soldier who goes into hiding from the secret government organization that turned him into a mechanically charged beast. This was, in my opinion, a great TV show that the CW had developed. The acting was fantastic, and I do feel like a lot of the storylines were really well done. It is pretty romance heavy, so if you enjoy that, the show is definitely for the romance lovers. I just think it would be a great TV show to watch around the fall and spooky season. My next recommendation is Witches of East End. This is a drama, romance, mystery, paranormal show. Whenever people recommend like paranormal shows or shows to watch during the spooky season, I don't know why people never recommend the show, because I think it is perfect. I rewatched it, I think like 2 years ago around Halloween time, and it was so fun to rewatch around the season. It follows 2 sisters, a bartender and a librarian, discover as adults that they're witches with magical powers. They, their mom, and her sister, all witches, are up against a mortal enemy. The show did only last 2 seasons, and it does kind of end on a cliffhanger, which I hate, but unfortunately it was canceled, so there wasn't a proper ending to the show. But if you can get past that and you can just enjoy the show for the 2 seasons, I think it is worth the watch. It is on Lifetime, so there are some cheesy moments, but overall, I think it is a great show, and I love the whole witch element, and I love the bond that all of the women have on the show. This is also a show that's super romance heavy. I do believe it is an adaptation of the books by Melissa de la Cruz. I haven't read them, but I really enjoyed this TV show. The next show I'm recommending is The Secret Circle. This is another drama, mystery, paranormal show. It was a CW show. Sadly, it only lasted for a season. There are 22 episodes, I think. If you want to start a new show but you don't want to commit to something super long, I think this is the show to watch, especially if you want something like cheesy and very young adult. 16-year-old Cassie moves to Washington to live with her grandmother after her mother mysteriously dies. She discovers she's a witch along with 5 other teens. It was fun, it was entertaining, romance heavy again. I feel like I definitely need to do a rewatch on this. I think the last time I did watch this was when it aired the last episode in 2012, which is kind of crazy, but yeah, this is another fun, fast-paced TV show. The next TV show is one of my all-time favorites, and that is A Discovery of Witches. This is a drama, fantasy, romance. It follows Diana Bishop, historian and witch, who accesses Ashmole 782 and knows she must solve its mysteries. She is offered help by the enigmatic Matthew Claremont, but he's a vampire and witches should never trust vampires. This had 3 seasons. I don't really know where you can watch it now because it was kind of on a bunch of streaming services. I think you can watch it on Prime, and you might be able to watch it on HBO Max, I think. But the first episode is actually available on YouTube for free. So if you're not sure if you want to watch the show, you can literally just go on YouTube and watch the first episode. I will link the first episode down below if you want to watch it. Like I said, this is one of my favorite TV shows ever. It is an adaptation of the books by Deborah Harkness. I also loved the books. The first season is especially perfect to watch during the fall time because there is kind of like a Halloween episode sort of. But I love everything about the show, the acting, the directing, the sets, the cinematography, the special effects. I feel like the show's really, really well done and another super underrated TV show. Okay, I think the rest I have kind of recommended off and on, so I will kind of go through a majority of them very quickly. The first one we have is Dracula, which was a TV show on NBC. This aired in 2013 to 2014. It only has 1 season. It was sadly canceled. I really enjoyed it. It was very mysterious and atmospheric and romance heavy, and I loved all the acting. It follows Dracula, who travels to London with dark plans for revenge against those who ruined his life centuries earlier. However, his plan is complicated when he falls in love with a woman who seems to be a reincarnation of his dead wife. I highly recommend Grimm, which was another TV show that was on NBC. This had 6 seasons. It is a drama, crime, fantasy show. It follows a homicide detective who discovers he is a descendant of hunters who must fight supernatural forces. You either love or hate the show. I feel like there are times where it's very camp, but for the most part, I loved this show. It was, for the longest time, the only show that I would watch live every week. But this is a fun paranormal show and one of my all-time faves. An older TV show that I want to recommend is Ghost Whisperer. This had 5 seasons and the last season aired in 2010. So it is quite an older show, but I really, really love this show. It is one of my all-time favorites. I do have the box set, and I remember that I would watch the show live every Friday, I think, when I was like 10, which is crazy to think about because the show is kind of dark and kind of scary, but it just follows a young woman who's caught between the dead and the living and helps the dead resolve unfinished business with the living. Another older favorite would be Rain. This was a CW show, and it is a drama historical romance. I know a lot of people hate on this show because it is not historically accurate, but if you take that away from it, it is a fun, kind of emotional and somewhat dark historical type show. I feel like for me, I don't need all of my historical TV shows to be, or movies to be fully accurate. I do love some exaggeration, but this follows Mary Queen of Scots, who faces political and sexual intrigue in the treacherous world of the French court. When I think of the CW, I think of Rain. I think it is one of their best, and I think the acting was fantastic. I loved the costumes. I know they're not historically accurate, like I said, but to me, this show screams fall. It gives a very cozy, gloomy vibe, kind of, but I think it does take place in like every single season. But when I think of Rain, I think of fall time. My next recommendation would be Bitten. This was a Canadian TV show. I don't remember where it aired, maybe Space. This is a drama fantasy mystery show with also some heavy romance plots. It follows Elena, who navigates her life between the human world and the werewolf world as the only female of the species. This was also an adaptation of the Women of the Otherworld series by Kelly Armstrong. I have not read those books, but I really enjoyed this show. It did have 3 seasons, so I feel like it's the perfect amount to binge in the fall time. Then I have some obvious paranormal shows to recommend, like True Blood, which was a very popular HBO show. I did really love this show. It did have some like off seasons that I didn't really love and some storylines I didn't love, but I never read the books, so I don't know what they completely changed or not, but I did enjoy the show for what it was. I of course do recommend Teen Wolf, but I don't think I even watched the last season, so I feel like I can't fully recommend it, but the first 3 seasons were the best in my opinion. So I would just watch the 3 first seasons. Then of course, I cannot make this video without recommending Buffy. I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It is one of my favorite shows of all time. This is obviously the perfect paranormal TV show to watch around Halloween. I'm sure you've all have seen it, but if you haven't, this is your time to watch it. Go start it right now. It does have 7 seasons, I think, so it is quite long, but go start it right now. Bates Motel would be a great TV show to watch around this time. I again don't think I watched the last season. I did think it was a fantastic TV show and the acting was just phenomenal. I just kind of lost interest by the time the last season had come out. I'm the worst at like starting a TV show and then waiting for the new season to come out, and then I just never watch the new season. I need to watch shows that are completely finished so I can just binge them all at once. The next 3 are some contemporary TV shows. The first one is Virgin River. This I haven't watched the last like 2 or 3 seasons, unfortunately, but the first few seasons I really liked of this show. I do plan to continue eventually. This show I feel like takes place during all of the seasons, but it does kind of give me a fall vibe if you just want a very like wholesome small town drama. Virgin River is definitely a great one to watch. I'm going to recommend Ben and Kate. This is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It only had 1 season on Fox. I believe there were maybe 16 episodes. There is a Halloween episode and a Thanksgiving episode, so it's perfect to watch right now. It's just a comedy about a very unsuccessful brother who moves in with his sister and her kid, and they have this very weird, funny family dynamic, and it's a very funny, cute, wholesome show. I was also going to recommend Only Murders in the Building, however, I have not watched season 2 or season 3, so I feel like I can only really recommend the first season. I loved the first season. It was so good. I do have plans to continue. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. If you want a comedy, drama, mystery show, Only Murders in the Building is it. I have heard wonderful things about season 2 and 3, so I will be watching eventually. I was hoping to watch a couple more TV shows before I had done this video so that I had even more recommendations, but I haven't gotten around to them yet. So if I didn't mention any other TV shows, it's because I haven't watched them yet. I did mention a few in my fall reading plans and watch list videos, so if you want some more possible good TV shows to watch, I did mention some in that video that I do plan to watch. But these were all the recommendations that I had today. Let me know if you have seen any of these TV shows and what you think about them, or let me know what you recommend for some great fall and spooky TV shows. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, follow me on all my other social media, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!